Everybody, welcome into another episode of Three Deep South. We got a rivalry week reaction show. We kind of
Can
had
you
a.
say that 10 times fast, Mason, or no?
I don't think I could. I don't think I could say it again slowly. It was very hard. Um, that was yeah. I don't know if you know it, but I sounded it out very well.
Yeah, you did a
um,
good job. You did a lot better job than I. Yeah, I can maybe say it once a show, and then I just don't ever say it again.
yeah, I'm just gonna refer to it as like week 14 now. We kind of had like it was interesting for
Yeah,
sure, but there wasn't a whole lot of surprises outside of Texas beating Texas A&M.
yeah.
Um,
There
I
was
mean, you had
potential there, but
yeah,
like it was more like the teams like Georgia controlled that whole game.
yeah,
Like there was really no way around it. Um, Ole Miss controlled the whole game. It kind of got close at the end, but then really it didn't. Or I wouldn't say at the end. At the beginning, it was kind of close, and then at the end, they kind of ran away with it. And then same thing with Alabama. Like it was
yeah,
close, but Alabama controlled the whole game.
yeah, and Auburn definitely kind of beat Auburn there, which is par
Yeah,
for the course. I mean, it was just kind of a chalk week. It was still fun to watch those. It's fun to watch the environment. It's fun to watch like the animosity and like just people can say like with the transfer portal and stuff that certain things like lose luster, and I can understand that to an extent. But like that Texas A&M Texas game was chippy from kickoff
yeah,
to the final whistle.
yeah,
Ohio State Michigan was the same way. Ohio State Michigan was chippy after the final whistle.
yeah.
Um, I mean, there's certain rivalries that I think aren't real rivalries. Like Georgia Tech, I don't think it's an actual rivalry. But like Arizona State, was like kind of chippy. That game was kind of controlled as well by Arizona, which surprised me actually. But I guess Arizona State without Sam Levitt, they don't really stand a chance in that game. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. It was a fun week, and it did poise a couple questions because we got this situation in the ACC where a 7-5 team has the opportunity to win their conference championship. If the ACC champion is Duke, then that leaves open another just weird spot for a conference champion that's like a Sun Belt team, or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, just like something that we wouldn't expect, that you could have never predicted. Um,
I I wasn't planning on bringing this up until later in the show, but with it being rivalry week,
there we go.
um, yeah. And you brought up the ACC first. With it, most of the time with these rivals, they're all in conference,
Hmm.
right? But you did have a few like out of conference games, like Kentucky went to Louisville,
Got beat like a drum.
got beat like a drum. There was another one of an
South
out of
Carolina lost to Clemson.
South Carolina lost to Clemson, and then luckily Florida beat Florida State, or the SEC was going to go 0-3 against the
Nice.
Ace.
Three of
I
those,
just
all three of those teams shouldn't even have coaches at this point. I mean, for real, this is a real question I have. What is
yeah,
Kentucky holding on to? I mean,
I don't know.
what are you holding on to? Stoops is
Yeah,
a, I mean, maybe he's not a bad coach because you have had heights with Kentucky, 10-win years, like big
yeah,
bowl games for them.
yeah.
What are we holding on to? You have not done anything the last 2 years that like warrants
I
him still coaching your football team. I don't get that.
I think I think if there wasn't, I think if there wasn't schools kind of in their same parameter of coaching hires, I think they would have let him go. But like, I know you don't think so, but I think, especially right now, Arkansas and Kentucky would probably be looking in the same coaching pool. Kentucky and Virginia Tech will kind of be looking in the same coaching pool. I'm not saying like, oh, Kentucky would have got James Franklin, or from
Not
what
that
I've heard,
close.
yeah, from what I've heard, Arkansas is getting Alex Golish. Alex Golish. I'm not saying that Alex Golish would go to Kentucky.
Maybe
I'm just
they might
saying
be.
like,
the coaching search is crazy right now.
Yeah,
And this whole Lane Kiffin debacle is further dirtying it up because
yeah,
Alex Golish has been linked to Ole Miss as of last night. Like not as their coaching hire, but as a candidate, as someone that their
yeah,
Keith Carter, their AD, has looked at.
yeah.
So who knows? We might not get. I mean, who knows who we're getting? I have no idea. I
That's
genuinely,
what I'm
this
saying.
is
Like
the least information I've had since it started.
this is why that's why I think they haven't fired their coach. That's why I think Kentucky hasn't let Mark Stoops go is because there's so many jobs. Auburn. Somebody's going to take an Auburn job over Kentucky. Somebody's going to take the Virginia Tech job over Kentucky. Somebody's going to take the Arkansas job over Kentucky. And then next thing you know, it's like, yeah, he's had a bad year this year, but are you really giving up a worse coach to get a better one? You don't know that, so let's ride it out for another year.
It's just like, and I hate that that's been the biggest storyline of the last month in the
Yeah,
SEC. I mean,
yeah,
obviously the top teams have had like the storyline of like, okay, is Alabama going to make the playoff? Does Texas have an outside shot? Texas A&M, blah 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 blah. Oklahoma, but for the vast majority of the SEC, Florida, Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, it's
yeah,
been even South Carolina to an extent because there was a report that they fired their coach and it wasn't true. But like everyone has been looking at like who are we going to hire or is our coach leaving and then who are we going to hire and then it's like what happens if Lane Kiffin leaves? Like who goes to Ole Miss and then does that affect our coach? It's just been like for like a month, like
yeah,
a month to like 6 weeks. It has been nothing but scrolling Twitter, looking at TikTok, seeing a report, and then looking at who posted it, and then checking if they're verified or checking if they
yeah,
have any sort of credentials. And it has been a crapshoot since we fired our coach. It's been just insane.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's exhausting, actually.
it
I was
is,
excited. Walking out of the stadium yesterday, I was like, like
yeah,
the season's over, and that sucks, because we have a
yeah,
2-10 year. But this this has been an exhausting season for I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of teams.
Yeah, especially with the coaching searches that all are going through. And it seems like there's a lot of schools that are kind of in y'all's area that might be little bigger fish that are looking for coaches where it's like, y'all would love to have Alex Golish. Some people would. Some people think that that's just an okay hire. But if Ole Miss wants Alex Golish is probably going to go to Ole Miss just because of what they have set up. Um,
Ole Miss
and
back
some,
to the dumpster, back to the
yeah,
porta potty for Ole Miss, buddy. We're
Yeah,
done.
and then some people think that Auburn's a better job than Arkansas, which you can say it is or you can say it's not. But um, it's been I'm sure, very frustrating for a Hogs fan's perspective because it's like you need to start getting these things together because the transfer portal is about to open up, and for a Hogs program that has been kind of lackluster on the recruiting trail coming from high school, you have to have in your first year, you have to have a Kirk Cignetti at Indiana type of season. You don't have to win that many games, but you need to have crazy transfer portal class come in, and you at least need to go 6-6, make a bowl game, and then that's where you get the high school recruiting rolling. But if they're going to wait this long to hire somebody, which I think they gave Bobby Petrino the opportunity, I know they were giving him the opportunity to finish the season, but I think they were giving him the opportunity to earn the head coaching spot from what it looked like to me. And then he came out and he crapped the bed. He didn't win any more games than Sam Pittman. And actually, he won less games than Sam Pittman. And it made no sense to me how I seen and heard a lot of Hogs fans that said that, acted like Bobby Petrino was going to be the Lord and Savior of the program. That was the most ridiculous, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. Because here's the thing: you're taking somebody who hasn't been a head coach since what? Where was he? Was he at North Texas or New Mexico State or somewhere?
He has not been a Division One like
Yeah, since Louisville,
FBS Power Four coach since Louisville. Now he has been a head coach at Missouri State and Western
Missouri State.
Kentucky,
Yeah,
like, and he hasn't had like a 10-win season since Lamar Jackson.
no,
So
and
I
I don't
don't.
think
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
and you take that with a grain of salt because it's like you have Lamar Jackson, which is on the same pedestal as pretty much no other college quarterback that's been around because you're going to win at least 6 games because you have Lamar. But um, he hasn't been a head coach since the transfer portal and since NIL really opened. So it's like I know that like Bobby has every Hogs fans in a type of way just because of what he used to be. But you also have to look at like college football has changed. It has changed drastically since he was a head coach at a Power 4 school. So it's not the same. And I hate to tell people like Louisville is still good. So it's not like Bobby just changed the whole. What's it? I just got a notification, Mason. What does that say? Did you get
Um,
one or no?
it's just
Oh, it just says
that the
thickens.
meeting that was supposed to be at 9 o'clock has been moved to later in the day. So I don't.
Yeah.
That could mean anything.
No. But yeah, I mean, I think Bobby Petrino would be an awful head coach for Arkansas, but that's just me personally.
I agree. And as far as people, there's still people out there that think that. I mean, that's insane to say, insane to think. But like, people think that Arkansas is so down bad, and this is what like I really need people. And it's not even fine lines. Look at your context clues here. Whenever you're talking about Arkansas job, you can compare this to the Kentucky job. Okay, we're not going to talk about
Yeah.
wins. We're not going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Just the facts of the matter. Top 20 recruiting class, or top 25, top 30 recruiting classes in the high school rankings. Top 10 transfer portal classes. We have a
Yeah.
we have all the facilities in the world. Um, we are not Kentucky. Kentucky isn't doing that. Kentucky isn't top
Yeah.
20. They aren't top 50 in recruiting. They're not. And you have to have money to do that. You have to
Yeah.
have money to bring in 40 new players every year. You have to. That is on Sam to an extent that he had to bring in 40 players because he also had 35, 40 players leaving every year. This is not a place that is just without money. If you look at what each program's worth, Arkansas is a top 15 program in just what they're worth monetarily wise, what they bring in, what they are valued at by Forbes, not by me, not by Justin, not by Pete Thamel, not by Josh Pate. This is by Forbes. You know, they're unbiased in this reporting. Arkansas is a very wealthy program. So it's just about getting your ducks in a row and spending those resources in the right areas. You have to have someone to do that. They're one of the last people to hire a GM. They're one of the last people to do all this. I don't even remember why I started talking about this. What were we talking about
What?
before this? Where was I
Wait.
going? I was looking at my phone.
Well, no, you're good. We've got on the kind of the coaching search
Oh,
and how.
Bobby
Yeah.
Petrino.
Yeah.
Bobby Petrino is like your last resort. That's the guy that we
Yeah.
bring in. That's like whenever Lincoln Riley left and Oklahoma had Mark Stoops or Bob Stoops, whatever the hell his name is, one of the Stoops, coach for a bowl game. It's like that's your emergency hire. That's not the guy leading you into this new era. This is not a guy that's going to lead you to where you want to be. Yes, in a world where he was 45 or 50 and had all this fire and was young and had an innovative offense in a sense, came from, the pro style and already had led Louisville to heights that we hadn't seen Louisville be at. Yes, that was a home run. Bobby Petrino's been through it now. Bobby
Yeah.
Petrino's proven what he is. He is a firecracker. It's short and it's quick and it's pow and it's loud and it's awesome. But then it's gone.
Yeah.
And then it's nothing. And then it's ruined. And then you have to
Yeah.
restart. Whenever he
Yeah.
left Louisville, he was 2-10. Whenever he left Arkansas, Arkansas went 3-8, and then 3-9, and then 4-8, and then you know what I mean. He's
Yeah.
not a program builder in a sense that it doesn't sustain anything. He destroys it at the end. It always leaves in a fiery mess. Why do you want that? We've been going through this for 10 years. 10
Yeah.
years. I mean, or no, 12 years. It's been 12 years. It's been the longest 12 years. If you're paying attention to Hog Sports week in and week out, this has been a long 12 years.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
can all be attributed to the motorcycle ride, whether people want to admit it or not. Why are people willing to settle for that? I don't understand. Like That's such a loser mentality. And I've been talking about loser mentality a lot. Maybe not on the podcast, but in group chats and just conversations. Arkansas fans right now have such a loser mentality. Oh, we're
Yeah.
doomed. Oh, we're cursed. Oh, we're broke. Oh, we're not. We're none of those things. We have not had the right guy, and settling for Bobby Petrino extends that. I just want people to get that out of their mind. Please, God, get that out of
Yeah.
your mind. We don't
And I
need that.
think And I think with like the new day and age of football, you need to go out and hire somebody young and ambitious and like Bob Petrino. Don't I know like everybody kind of has that coaching like that urge to like compete, I guess.
Mhm.
But the thing is like if Alice Golish gets the job and he's only here for 2 years and then he gets fired, he's gonna have to go get another job. If Bob
Yeah.
Petrino's here for 2 years and he gets fired, I mean, he's probably on the way to the retirement home. Like, he's fine. He doesn't care. And that's always going to be in the back of the older coaches' minds. And if you look around the country, top programs right now, Ohio State, they promote. Now, they're a little different, but they promoted within with a young coordinator that was very intelligent. Uh, Oregon promoted a young coordinator from Georgia. Georgia promoted a young coordinator from Alabama. Um, like you look around the country at these top
Alabama.
programs. Yeah, Alabama. You look at these, at these programs around the country. Ole Miss, same way. A lot of them do the same things. So
Yeah.
it's like go do the same thing. Go find a hot young name coordinator or a coach that is, at a lower level school and just go from there. At least you're giving somebody that has a little bit of want to and a little fight the job instead of giving somebody that's like old and to me washed up the job that doesn't deserve it personally.
Yeah,
But
I agree
I mean, we could
100%.
talk all day about coaching searches because
Yeah.
there's so many and
Let's
it's
start getting
ridiculous.
into some of the games. Let's start with the Friday games. I guess let's just start with this one. This one was the biggest upset, so one fresh kind of on my mind. Texas beat Texas A&M, and it's a game that A&M kind of jumped out early,
Yeah.
and Texas just it was like something flipped, and then Texas dominated A&M. Their defense dominated Marcel Reed. Arch Manning looked like a, I mean, I don't know where this sentiment from people is coming from. It has to be the Manning jealousy and hate, but Arch Manning has been a good quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
no, he hasn't been great. No, he does not deserve the Heisman. No, he probably shouldn't be the first pick in the NFL draft. Arch Manning has been a good quarterback, and I don't know how else to explain that. Like he showed up in this game, made big throws. That's not a team that I want to see. I mean, if I'm Indiana, if I'm Ohio State, if I'm Oklahoma again, if I'm Alabama, if I'm whoever, I don't want to see Texas. They have a great front seven. They have a great back end. Their quarterback has improved every single week. They've been able to run the ball the last couple of weeks. That is a team that has steadily improved, and everything that they've been building up to that point kind of it showed itself in the second half of that A&M game, and they kicked A&M's ass. I mean, A&M just got throttled in the second half, and there was just never really a chance. Never really a chance for A&M after they got that lead. It was over very fast. I don't know. This is what I think is more important. I'll let you go through your like game, what you thought of the game, but after you get done with that, I want you to say, okay, Texas lost to Florida. Yes, that's a bad loss. On the
Hmm.
road, bad loss. They lost to
Hmm.
Oklahoma. That's a playoff team. And they lost to the number one team in the country on the road by a touchdown. Now, if you watch the game, Ohio State was never
No, they
really.
lost. They lost to Georgia. They beat Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, they lost to Georgia playoff team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
And then
good.
they lost. And then they lost to Ohio State on the road. Now that's not a game that Ohio State was ever really threatened. But at the end of the day, that's the closest game Ohio State's played was against Texas.
Yeah.
So they're sitting at 9-3. They didn't have to play Ohio State. They did not have to.
No.
They could have backed out of that game, and then you're looking at a 10-2 team, and we're probably not having this conversation. So, just I want to have your take on that after you
Okay.
talk
So
about the game.
Yeah, the game kind of went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I personally thought for a pretty good while, and I view Texas A&M and Vanderbilt kind of the same way. Um, if you can kind of stop their quarterback or force them to make mistakes, their team is not good enough around them okay, here's what I'm going to say. Like on the offensive side specifically, Texas A&M has all kinds of weapons. But if you
Mhm.
get pressure to their quarterback, he's not accurate enough, and he's not good enough under pressure, and he's not good enough throwing it down the field. Where if you have a good front seven, you're going to cause problems for Texas A&M. It's the same thing with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is like a Walmart version of Texas A&M, in my personal opinion. Neither team has great defenses. It is what it is. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. I thought the score was going to be a little bit more. I thought it was going to be like 35-17. But if you watched the game, I said Texas was going to make it sectional against Texas A&M, and that's exactly what they did because it kind of is what it is. Um, my whole thing on Texas, yeah, they could have backed out of the Ohio State game, but it's like, or they could have just won the Florida game. Like I hate when
Yeah.
people like, and you're not the first person to say this. Like I listened to the press conference that their safety had. What's his name? Taff.
Yeah,
The
Michael Taffy, I think.
Yeah, Michael Taffy. Like I don't like him anyways because like last year when they lost to Ohio State, he was like screaming in the tunnel like one of those dudes that like screams and then like looks around to see if anybody's watching
Yeah.
him. But like he was talking about it, he was like, "Well, if we wouldn't have scheduled Ohio State, we would be 10-2." And it's like, well, yeah, or if you would have just not lost to Florida, you would have been 10-2. Don't pick the best game that you can compare a loss to, and be like, "Well, see, if we wouldn't have played that, we would be fine." It's like, or if you would have just beat Florida, you would have been fine. Or I mean, if you would have held a little bit closer of a loss to Georgia, I think you would be. I think they would be in a better parameter to talk about them making the playoff if they didn't just go get skull drugged by Georgia 35-10. Like that's
I just
my
think
whole
it's
thing.
interesting because
It
you
is, and
can't
I
do
mean,
anything about your conference schedule. You can't do anything
no,
about how that is scheduled. The SEC is
no,
going to do what they want with that.
yeah,
But I think this is a bad precedent because that Ohio State Texas game was something we all looked forward to. We all were
yes,
like excited for it. We were all like, week one, we got a big one, you know?
yeah,
And I just think if Texas is punished, this is a
yeah,
copycat sport. It is.
yeah.
I think
I
if
don't
Texas is
mind.
punished and those big schools start getting left out for those non-conference losses, you know, you're supposed to be rewarded for playing those games. If they get
Yeah,
left out, I think that a lot of those games are going to start getting pulled, and you're not going to see those as much.
I
And I
agree.
do
I
think
don't.
to an extent they have a point, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides. I'm not gonna say. I think Texas. I don't mind them getting in. If they
Right.
don't get in, I'm not going to be like, "Oh my gosh, what are we doing?" Like, but I don't mind them getting in. Um, but it, it's. I mean, I don't know. It's kind
I
of one
think
of
they're
those
more
things.
deserving than Vanderbilt.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree.
I would also say I think they're more deserving than Miami. I think Miami's two losses are not good.
Because I would compare them a lot. Now, I know that they have bigger wins. I'm not going to say that they don't, but I would compare them a lot to USC. USC's in the same exact predicament. They
Yep.
have three losses. They have a win over a Michigan team, and then they have a win over. It was at Nebraska, and I think um, Nebraska's 8-4. Like it's not like they're a bad team. They could be ranked just as much as Tennessee or a
No,
Missouri team is ranked.
Nebraska's 7-5, and they got their skull
Did
drugged yesterday.
they did lose, didn't they? Yeah, yeah, my
They
bad.
got beat bad.
Who they lose to?
Iowa. They got beat bad by
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, yeah, they did get beat bad. So, but
Like
what
40-16 or
yeah, yeah,
something. It
yeah,
was
it was
bad.
Iowa that's 8-4.
Yeah.
Anyways, but if they wouldn't have played Notre Dame, they would be in the
Right.
10-2 conversation. So it's like, um, And now I'm not saying USC deserves to get in the playoff just like Texas. I'm just saying like those are two teams that you can compare,
Yeah,
not
and that's a good
apples to
comparison.
apples. But what I do think though is because when I was watching all the games yesterday, because there's a lot of teams that are gonna be left out. Michigan, another team, gonna be left out because they're 9-3. We have the potential to have some really good non like really good meaningless bowl games. Imagine Texas, Michigan,
Yeah,
USC, Tennessee. Like there's going to be some if people play in them, which I think this year is going to be kind of funky because there's not many like big name people coming out in this year's draft class that can sit out one of these games that play for a crappy school. There's probably a few for Texas, probably a few for Michigan, but I hope we get a good slate of like those games that lead up to the playoffs. I don't care if Texas gets in to kind of wrap us back around to that conversation. If they get in, great, whatever. I would like to see them get in over an ACC team, or
yeah.
like to see them get in over. I mean, I would say the loser of the
Second
Big 12,
G5.
yeah, second G5 or any G5 at that matter.
Yeah,
I think the G5 thing we've talked about it needs to be something that's kind of year to
year to
year,
year.
not just
Yeah.
like all the time. I think the Big Ten is going to get three teams in, so that's three spots. The Big 12 will probably get two. Um, that's five. The G5 will get one. Notre Dame will get one, and then that leaves you five more spots. So is the SEC going to pull all five of those spots? Maybe. I don't care if they do. Um, I mean, yeah. So it's kind of one of those things because I think there's only four teams right now that can make it all the way to the playoffs and win a national championship, and
I would agree.
that's Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and no, well, I guess there's more than four, but Notre Dame and Georgia. I don't think Alabama can. I just don't.
No, I don't,
Um,
they've kind of fallen. They haven't played as good the last month, I would
no,
say. Um, let's move on to the next game. We are not making good time today.
no.
We kind of already talked about that Georgia Tech game. There's nothing really else I want to flesh out on that one. Indiana beat the crap out of Purdue.
Ole Miss looked
Also,
good against Mississippi State. I thought that game was going to be a little closer,
yeah,
but it just wasn't.
it's just crazy because like really the story coming out of that game is not Ole Miss has their first ever. Not just Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the first 11 win season in the state of Mississippi history in college football.
Yeah,
The first
and
one ever.
everybody's talking about Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about Ohio State Michigan. I watched it. I was kind of spotty. I was on my way to Fayetteville, but I did get to watch a lot of the. I watched the whole first half, and then I got to watch kind of the end whenever Ohio State was up big.
Yeah,
What happened there? I mean, it looked like to me Ohio State dominated them up front, which has been the problem the last 4 years, and kind of Ohio State's thorn in the butt just in general
yeah,
has been the offensive line and defensive line.
that's exactly what happened. I mean, we were more talented up front, defensively and offensively. Our offensive line has struggled all
Mm-hmm.
year long, but over the last 3 to 4 games, now we have played inferior opponents, but our run game has gotten better. Um, and with the passing attack that we have, that's all you need. You don't need 400 yards on the ground every week. You need 150 just to keep the other team honest. And it looked like our offensive line came out and wanted to prove a point, and that's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some analytics on the game, like Michigan has the 11th best rushing offense or rushing defense. Sorry, they have the 17th total defense. Their offense has, I mean, their offense is just okay. I wouldn't say that they're, I mean, they're nobody to like write home about. I don't know what they are.
Michigan
Um,
got clamped in the second half. At one point, they had
yeah,
-8 rush yards, and Bryce Underwood for the total game had like 65 passing yards. It was
yeah.
atrocious.
So they have a top. I mean, they have like a 35 ranked offense in the country. Now, all those you have to look at parameters, but I mean, here's my whole thing, and people can either agree with me or not agree with me, or kind of say like, well, there's some different things because I haven't dove too deep into it. This Ohio State defense is on the same crest, pretty much apples to apples, as the 2021 Georgia defense, if not better. Now, obviously, I can't say they're better yet because if it's like, well, we haven't won the national championship, but
Right.
they're on that same. They gave up 24 total yards in the second half, and they gave up -1 yards in the fourth quarter. Like, if that's not saying something, like you gotta really take off the whole "I hate Ohio State" coat and just set it down and be like, yeah, I got to give you your flowers. And then offense, they did exactly what I wanted them to do. Julian Sand had a bad first drive. I'd say first drive, first two passes. That's all he had. And then he came out.
He was
Ryan,
he was spotty that first quarter. He was spotty.
yeah,
I thought his
I would
decision
agree.
making was just not
He was,
great in that first
yeah.
half in general.
Um, and then he came out and he wasn't making great decisions. He was moving off of his primary routes really fast, but you have to understand he's still a redshirt freshman. And he came off of a big mistake that they had been looking forward to for a whole year in that game. I like to see that Ryan Day didn't shell up and just go to running the ball. And I like that Julian Sang came back. I mean, you can't tell me that his nuts didn't just drop on the big house when it's 4th and 5 and you're going for it and you take a deep shot to Jeremiah Smith on a double move and he ends up scoring a touchdown. Now, timeout. I'm going to give you a little sidebar.
Did he score a touchdown?
Here's my whole thing, and I don't. If they would have overturned it and called it a touchback, I wouldn't have been mad at the call.
Right.
He was
I don't think
bobbling the
it
ball.
mattered.
Yeah, I think they would have won regardless. Here's my whole thing. That rule specifically, and I don't care if it would have went against Michigan. That rule specifically is one of the dumbest rules I've ever heard of in college football
The
and in
possession
the
rules are
NFL.
terrible this year. I mean, just in general. And I really thought that was going to get called back. I really, really
I
did.
did too. I mean, if you want me to be honest, I thought so too. I just don't like that rule when it comes to like if you fumble it out of the back of the end zone, it's an automatic touchback. What I think it should be is like, okay, you fumbled it out of the back of the end zone. We're gonna pull you back to the 25 and give you a fresh set of downs or something like that. Because I mean, how like now I understand if you're like reaching the ball over and it gets knocked out and then another team recovers it, that's one thing. But like with this specific thing with Jeremiah, like that would have been like I would have been like, are you kidding? Like I wouldn't have been mad at the call. I would have been mad at what the rule dictates you do in that specific scenario. Um,
Well, and to me,
it,
it's not that he didn't have possession. I mean, he bobbled it, and technically, I guess that's not possession. But we've seen time and time again this year, someone go all the way to the ground with the ball, and then the
mm-hmm,
ball shoots off, and they're like incomplete pass. No, that's not incomplete. If you're
mm-hmm,
down, if you have
yeah,
possession, and then you hit the ground, you're down. What the ball does after that shouldn't matter. And he
yeah,
had possession, and I mean, I didn't think it was clear enough evidence for one to
yeah.
say that it was a
That's where
fumble.
I
Sorry, I
was.
keep checking my phone because my phone is just ESPNing it up. But it just, I definitely thought it was going to be something that I really thought Ohio State was going to get called for a fumble right there. And I was like, I could not believe whenever they gave him the touchdown. Honestly, I was more surprised by them giving him the touchdown just based on what we have seen happen this year.
Yeah,
But
I
I
agree.
mean, it's a touchdown. Yeah, it's a touchdown in my view. Like, how are you going to not call that a touchdown type of thing? How did it
Yeah,
feel to finally win that game, though?
it felt like, dude, it felt like it was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, but it also is like there was also nerves involved because we've been looking forward to this game for 4 years, and it's like Ryan Day does seem like a different coach coming out of that national championship run last year. If you want me to be completely honest, and I'm saying this, and I am a biased fan. I do like Ohio State, but there are years where I'm like, yeah, man, I do not want to see that team in the playoffs. If we stay healthy, I don't really worry about anybody at all. I guess the only team I would worry about would be like obviously Indiana, but we're going to play them next week. If we have to play a team twice, I worry about them. I don't like seeing Texas again, but like honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oregon would probably be the one team that I'm like, I don't care to see
Yeah,
them, but
I'm just not that
they
impressed with Oregon.
they looked
I haven't
very
been.
they looked very nonchalant yesterday, which that's a rivalry game. But like, if we stay healthy, man, I just don't see a team in the country because you're gonna have to score. Oh, you have to hold our offense to 17 points. Is there a defense because we have not very good defenses this year? Is there a defense outside of? I mean, I guess you could throw Indiana in there and maybe Oklahoma if they
That's
can do it.
those are the three I would be worried about. Was Indiana, Texas, and Oklahoma, just
Yeah,
because Alabama would have to match them. I don't see that necessarily going well for Alabama. Georgia, I don't know. Georgia is for me. It's still wait to be seen on Georgia. Like we've seen
yeah,
them have great offensive games, but we haven't really seen them with a just. I don't know. They haven't impressed me yet. 100%. Georgia has not been like a must see team this
no.
year. I don't
It
think.
seems like they just win. They just find a way to win. Georgia
Yeah,
does. But
Oregon.
and
I just Oregon. Just I don't know. There's just something about Oregon this year. Just it's not that I think they're bad. I haven't been impressed yet. I
yeah,
guess. I mean,
and
I haven't watched much Oregon, but even
yeah,
in their box scores, there's nothing jumping out at me.
yeah, and I'm talking way ahead. Like we
Yeah,
still have to play the Big Ten championship. We still have to play all that. The whole thing with Ohio State is I don't think there's a team in the country that can beat us unless we beat ourselves, and then we have to stay healthy. Because Carnell and Jeremiah Smith are the best two receivers in the country, and I don't even think it's anywhere close. I personally, and then we have 4 first-round draft picks on the offensive or on the defensive side of the ball. So it's like, as long as we don't beat ourselves and we stay hungry and we want to win the national championship again, I think we'll be fine. But the whole thing is like now that Ryan Day got that monkey off his back, and the players kind of did, and they've experienced that, are they going to get complacent? And that's something that we'll see. Are they going to kind of stay hungry and want to go on this run? Because I know, like, the defense hasn't given up 17 points in 12 games. There hasn't been a team since I think like 1975 Florida State that has done that.
I think the scariest situation for Ohio State, personally, if I was a fan, would be win the Big Ten championship,
Yep.
get a bye week, and then have to play Oklahoma. I think that's the
Yeah.
worst one, in my opinion, because what if Oklahoma gets to play a G5 and
Yep.
then Oklahoma scores 35 points, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, their offense like played pretty good today, and then like, they're
Yeah.
feeling momentum, and then the Oklahoma defense does what they're able to do. Like that would be the scariest situation for me as an Ohio if I was an
Yeah.
Ohio State fan.
My scariest situation would be we win the Big Ten, which I do want to win the Big Ten. I know
Yeah,
there's a lot of questions there because I
right.
think the loser of the Big Ten game, as long as it doesn't get crazy like 35-10, I think they're still getting a first round bye, or they should. Indiana and Ohio State, they have decent wins. They've done what they're supposed to.
Right.
We say that you can't change your conference schedule. Go out and beat the spreads. Okay, well, they've
Yeah.
done that all year long, and they also have top 15, top 25 wins. If you lose your final game of the season, they've been 1-2 for like pretty much the whole year. Indiana, if they lose 17-10, they should only get bumped down to 4. I would be okay with that. So you're still getting a first round bye. I do want to win though, just because it's like I want to go undefeated, and I want Ohio State to be in the conversation of one of the best teams of all time. Anyways, A scary situation for me would be being a number one seed and then Oklahoma and Oregon playing in that 8-9 spot and then Oregon winning because then you're back on the same roller coaster of what we seen last year, where
Mhm.
it's like Oregon goes and plays Ohio State and then could they upset us because we took their season away? And Dan Lanning is a professional at giving pregame speeches. And
Yeah,
I'm
he
not,
definitely
you,
is.
you know, so that's just something that worries me. But that's pretty much all I got, man. I love to see that it was snowing. It was at Michigan. And in the fourth quarter, we pulled our horses off the field and said, okay, we're going to run it down your throat. And I know one of them we ended with a field goal, but we had like a 15 play, 11-minute drive in the third quarter. Like that was
Yeah,
huge. I love to see it. I like winning that way. And it also showed me that Ryan Day, like he took a step back and said, "Hey, he threw an interception, but I'm not going to clam up. I'm going to take deep shots and keep throwing the ball."
yeah, I definitely think it was very impressive. I I'll say I think it's Ohio State's best win of the year, not just because it's
Yeah,
Michigan and all that. I just think they have not played a competent opponent. It doesn't feel like in like 6 weeks,
no, they
and
haven't.
it just felt like okay, well, this one's looming and looming and looming, and then for the
Yeah,
second half, I think it's an indictment on Strone Moore a little bit, but I
yeah,
also think you have to give your flowers to Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs and
yeah,
uh, whatever his name is, Patricia, your
yeah,
defensive coordinator. I think that was a great second half. They came out and they just smothered Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was very impressive. Let's talk about Oklahoma kind of eked out LSU. That was kind of crazy.
Miami
Alabama,
smacked Pitt like
yeah,
that.
Miami smacked Pitt. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee. I thought that was very funny. And then, do you see Diego Pavia? He
The
hit that
Heisman
janky
pose.
little Heisman pose in the end zone at Neyland. That was
I don't mind. If you want me to be honest, whoever wins the Big Ten championship, as long as one of them have somewhat of a good stat line, I think that's who's going to win it.
mhm.
Um, I personally, I don't care if Julian wins it. He had some stretches there where it looked like he deserved it, and then when both of our receivers went out, it's like, okay, dude, now you're not doing that again. Um, I think Diego should win it, and as much as I hate to say that, like I think he should win it just because if you take Julian saying off of Ohio State, they're probably still making the playoffs just because like how talented they are. If you take Fernando Mendoza off of Indiana, they're probably still making the playoffs just because like Kirk Cignetta's done it 2 years in a row. Vanderbilt has never had anything like what they're having right now. And I think it's just kind of bound for him to win it just because like I was watching the game and like he didn't have he had an okay game. He had two interceptions. He had an
Yeah.
okay passing day. It was more rushing. But dude, you should have heard the announcers.
Oh, I
Like
heard him. I was watching it.
I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like
I think you're right about that, and that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's not that I don't think Julian Sands a good quarterback. I don't think, in my opinion, the Heisman shouldn't go to a player that's not the best player on his team.
yeah,
Like
I agree.
Julian Sands not the best player on that team, and it's not that he's bad. It's just Ohio State's loaded. Like he's not the best player on the offense. He's not better than any of your top defenders. Like it's just I don't think he. I just don't think that should be a thing. Fernando Mendoza is kind of the same way. I I don't know. I mean, yeah, Pavia. I guess I don't.
I really
My
like
biggest thing on
Jeremiah
Diego
Love.
Pavia is he did call this. I mean, he called it. He said they were going to go 12-0, which
Yeah,
I mean that didn't happen. But
he's close enough.
10 wins for Vanderbilt's basically a national championship, and then he called that they were going to beat Tennessee, and he
Yeah,
called a shot. You got to give him some respect on that. I mean, we were kind of making fun of him, and everyone else in the country was kind of making fun of him. I didn't really think they had a chance to do any of that. Um, but
I
I mean,
don't
here we
mind.
are.
I wouldn't mind it if he won it, and I wouldn't mind it if Jeremiah Love wins it. I think
Yeah,
Jeremiah Love is who should win it. Um, just talent wise and like what he's done and like stuff
If you
like
take
that.
him off Notre Dame, they're dead in the water.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and I just think Diego Pavia has made too many mistakes.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
agree.
would love the two teams as an Ohio State fan that I would love to see in the playoffs would be Vanderbilt. Give me Vanderbilt because Arvell Reese is going to humble that kid more than he will ever understand,
Yeah.
and give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, especially without a coach, I do think Ole Miss gives any defense problems in a sense, but I do
Yeah,
think it would be a tall task for Ole Miss to stop Ohio State. I mean, Ole Miss couldn't stop Georgia, and
yeah,
Georgia's offense is not. It's okay. Yeah, I'll give this. Georgia's offense has improved a lot over the
yeah.
year, but it's still not. It's not to that threshold. Let's kind of move on here.
Did you watch the Cal SMU game or no?
I did not watch that one. That one I really thought there's no way SMU loses. There's no way Duke actually makes the conference championship. What happened in that game?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Me neither.
It's just
Um,
it's hard. That's the one thing that's hard about rivalry week, especially when these rivals are kind of staying close. Like I thought I was going to be able to turn off the Alabama Auburn game in the
yeah,
first
me
half.
too.
I mean it was 17-0. And then Auburn kind of started showing some light, and then it's like, oh crap, I got to keep this game on, and that's a game that you don't want to turn off. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, you don't want to turn it off. Even LSU, Oklahoma, don't want to turn it off. Oregon, Washington. So it's like down here with SMU and Cal, like, am I going to turn one of those games off I just talked about to watch this game?
No.
No. A game that I kept kind of tapping into, and it had no effect on anything, was Northwestern Illinois, just because of the snow. It was a blizzard. It was just cool to
Yeah, it
like turn it
was.
on. Yeah, it was cool to turn it on and like kind of see it. They like evacuated half the stadium, like closed it off and kept everybody on one side for like danger reasons. Like it was pretty cool, but I was just like flipping it on to see it, and then I would flip right back. I didn't watch that game just because it's like it doesn't really matter. It definitely makes things weird for next week because you do have Duke versus Virginia. Um, and like what I don't know. And what is Virginia? Does Virginia only have one loss or do they have two?
I think they have two. I think. Let me look.
Yeah, they just played Duke and they throttled Duke. Duke's gonna win
Yeah,
that game.
yeah, they're 10-2. But the thing is like I will say for Virginia, they've never won a conference championship outright, so that's exciting for them.
Yeah,
They got a good quarterback, Chandler Morris. For those who don't know, that's the son of Chad Morris, legendary Arkansas coach. Um,
didn't he come from? Wasn't Chandler Morris at Arkansas for a little bit?
no, okay, he committed to Arkansas for like
Yeah,
a week. We fired
and
his
then
dad,
yep,
and then he went
yep,
to
yep,
Oklahoma. He was at Oklahoma for like a year, and then he went
yeah.
to TCU, and he was the starting quarterback that year that they went to the national championship, but he got
Max
hurt,
Duggan,
and it was with
Max
that other
Duggan.
guy, and yeah, Max Dugan, and then he went to North Texas. He had a good year at North Texas. They went like 7-6. Transferred to Virginia, and now they're 10-2. I think he's a good quarterback. I've always enjoyed watching him, honestly.
And then yeah, and then you have North Texas and Tulane,
That'll be a good
which
one.
yeah, it will be. I think if Tulane gets beat, they're not making it. They
No, North
shouldn't.
Texas is at 11-1 as well. So like if North Texas wins, surely North Texas is in.
And I don't mind North Texas winning. I mean, if you really look at them, they don't have that individual like Ashton Genty, but they've been absolutely throttling people, haven't they?
Yeah, and they got a good quarterback, Retzloff or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Or maybe
yeah,
it's
they've been
Tulane's quarterback. I can't
they've
remember.
been throttling people. So it's like I don't mind them. I don't mind them going. I actually think that they'll make a better run at it than Boise State did last year.
Yeah, Boise State got handled last year, which was a real good pat on my back because I said they were terrible.
Yeah. But yeah,
Let's
so I ended up not watching that game, the SMU Cal game, just because like I wish I would have. There was a lot of
yeah,
games this year that kind of like were a main point, like like this game specifically, and you go back and you look, you're like, dang, I was watching the Alabama Auburn game, But then you look down and you're like, damn, I wish I would have watched the SMU Cal game too. Like just kind of kept your eye on it, and I kind of fell victim of doing that a lot this season. And then Notre Dame smoked Stanford, and I think Jeremiah Love maybe had like 6 carries. Like
Yeah, he didn't
they
play much. He wasn't even the
no,
leading guy.
uh-uh.
Well, I mean, I guess that's it. We do have a big week coming up, conference championship week, obviously, and then we have the playoff selection show. So there's definitely a lot more to talk about. We'll have another reaction. I don't know how we're gonna do this bowl game thing. I mean, because there's gonna be games on Monday and Tuesday and
Yeah.
January 1st and January 2nd and December 20, whatever. So we're gonna have a lot of weird scenarios in that. We'll just kind of play that as it goes, but guys, I hope y'all had a good November. We're here at the end. We're getting into the real cold days. Yesterday, I froze my ass off in Donald W. and watched Arkansas lose another another
Yeah,
game.
I was gonna say, man, like it was an absolute perfect day to watch football all day long at home, covered up. I'm a heated blanket kind of guy with a little
Yeah.
Starbucks in the morning, you know. After the game, obviously, like before the game, I could not eat, couldn't think about nothing. Like I'm checked out. But it was a perfect day. It was raining all day. The dogs were snuggled up, like turned the fireplace on, like I'm good to go. And then I was gonna get on here and talk to you about that, and I was like, yeah, I bet Mason hated the weather because you were there, you were in it. I got to just see it from the window. Um, I watched a little bit of the Hogs game. Do you like the fact that they didn't start Taylon Green, or was there a reason why they didn't start Taylon, or is it just like he's done after this season, so there's no point in giving him reps?
It was literally just for nothing because it was like they were playing rock, paper, scissors to see who was going out
Mm-hmm.
the next drive. I mean, KJ Jackson looked good. KJ Jackson led a scoring drive. KJ Jackson had the only touchdown pass of the
Yeah,
day. By the way, Missouri only threw the ball for like 60 yards and they beat us.
yeah,
But KJ Jackson looked like the best quarterback on the field whenever he was playing. Now, he does have some typical freshman, like, decision making, like the process of decision making seems a little slow. He threw some bad ish balls, but I mean, he didn't have any turnovers. He led a touchdown drive. The defense made a play, but it was so apparent after we. This has been like the craziest thing. Our kicker is like the Grim Reaper. When you see him, you know it's over.
yeah.
And there has been many times this year that he has missed a field goal, and it's just like, well, that's it. And it was 20-17. We had a good drive going. We kind of, did what we do and messed that up. And then we go to kick a field goal. He misses it. And Arkansas never had another chance to score after that. We just never ever put anything else together. It was a fitting end to the season. We let Talon finish the game. I think he played from like middle of the second quarter on, maybe. Um,
What was
that
what was the purpose in that? I guess is my question. Like, why not just keep the young kid in? Because isn't Taylon Green
yeah, he's
gone
done.
after this season, anyways?
Yeah, he's done. I don't know.
So
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
why not just let him finish? Why not just let the young kid finish the game? And I know some people are like, well, don't do that to Taylon. That's so like mean and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's like this kid's making $1 million. He's
Yeah.
gonna get picked up by somebody, and honestly, he's probably gonna get like some kind of wild grad transfer where he'll go play somewhere if he wants to.
Well, and
Um,
he's athletic enough that he can go play football in the
yeah,
NFL probably. I mean, he can probably go play in the NFL, not at quarterback, but he's athletic enough that he could do that. I think the thing is I'll say this. Yes, Taylor Green has been very up and down. Yes, at times Taylor Green's looked like the best quarterback in the country. At other times it's like he's looked like he's never played football before with some of his decisions. Taylor Green is a great leader. I was watching. I mean, it's just maybe the eyes that I have. I look for different things. On the touchdown drive that KJ Jackson led, Taylor Green was the first person down there to dap everyone up and jump in their arms and be excited. He
Yeah.
was talking to him on the sidelines. Like, I don't want this to be an indictment on Taylor Green at all. Like, 2-10, you had enough problems, as a group. I don't want to put this whole year on him. But he's made his mistakes. He doesn't deserve.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, do we live in a world where you get what you deserve, or do you? I mean, do you get what you earn? I mean,
Yeah.
he earned a spot on the bench. He deserved a spot on the
Yeah.
bench. I mean,
I mean,
like,
you want to complain about him getting benched? Go look at LSU.
yeah. I mean,
And
it's just
like he definitely earned it, but he was on the talk of Heisman. Another thing, speaking about Heisman's too, like over the last 2 to 3 years, whoever everybody thinks is going to win the Heisman, go in the complete opposite direction.
yeah.
Because ever since Spencer Rattler was supposed to win the Heisman, everybody that says people are supposed to win the Heisman never do. Here's my next thing too, because I like these hypothetical like what ifs. Lane Kiffin leaves, Trinidad Shameless can't play anymore. Bryce Underwood hits the portal and goes to LSU with Lane Kiffin.
I wouldn't be surprised because before the
Yeah, he was
$40
supposed to go
million
there
or
anyways.
whatever it was stipend that he got from Barstool, he was committed to LSU. So
Yeah,
I
dangerous,
wouldn't be
dangerous,
surprised.
dangerous.
And I
Or
wouldn't want to
Taylor
go play for
Green
Brian
under.
Kelly either. So I would
No,
have definitely went anywhere but LSU as well.
yeah,
Um,
or Taylor Green going and playing for freaking Lane Kiffin would be scary too. But that's all I got, Mason. I know you got
yeah,
stuff going
I
on
think
today.
he's
So
done. But guys, we're on the holiday season, so everybody be cheerful, even if you're a 2-10 fan. Um, I hope everybody has a good rest of y'all Sunday. We will see y'all Thursday to talk about the conference championships.